Hello and welcome to A Pint of Cthulhu. Today we are playing Danse Macabre, and hopefully you would have heard the interview last week, if I can get this edited in time. Without further ado, Chris, will you take it away?
Absolutely. Hello, my name is Chris Pickett. I am the creator, author, and illustrator of Danse Macabre. And today we're going to be playing through a little module that I wrote up for some conventions, which is titled The Price of Gold. So the three of you are recently recruited pilgrims working for the Canticum Aeternum of Constantinople. The Canticum Aeternum is a kind of a pseudo-government body which is tasked with the collection and maintenance of the stores of quintessent artifacts in Constantinople. Quintessence is this kind of aura or energy that certain artifacts that were created before the onset of the abandonment, which we'll get to in a second, which basically allows you to die a normal death. Whenever a quintessent item is exposed to human singing, specifically, it will glow with a light that if it's touching you when you die, you just die normally. Otherwise, in the world of Danse Macabre, when you do die, you're normally resurrected within a few hours, and you come back with mutations which are called maleficia. So the three of you are pilgrims. You have been, quote unquote, air quotes, recruited by the Canticum Aeternum. And what that really means is that you have been found guilty of a crime by the authorities of Constantinople, and you were given a choice. You could either be exiled outside of the walls of Constantinople, which is an extremely dangerous prospect. You would basically just be outlaws with no support, anything like that, and you are most likely to be converted into demoniacs, which are people who have died too many times, and now they've lost their humanity and are essentially wandering monsters in the landscape. The other choice that you were given is to serve under the Canticum Aeternum and be sent out from Constantinople on quests in order to largely acquire quintessent items. There's some scouting, there's some trade that you might be tasked with as well, but today that's not the case. So, let's see. Your caravan, the three of you, has been commanded by the Canticum Aeternum of Constantinople to travel east across the Bosphorus Strait to the ruins of a city called Scutari. 3 weeks prior to you setting out, two senior pilgrims named Elene Melisenos and Aslan Demir were sent on an exploratory mission to Scutari, never to return. A week after they had failed to return, a party of Canticum bailiffs, who essentially are just like jackboot cop types, were dispatched to retrieve the pair. Another week has passed without a word from either pilgrims or bailiffs, sending a panic through the Canticum. The remaining bailiffs refuse to step foot in Scutari, and all experienced caravans are, unfortunately, but also conveniently for our story, already dispatched up and down the coast. So your caravan, composed of the most recently recruited pilgrims, such as yourselves, is all that is available. Your mission is to discover the fate of both the senior pilgrims and the bailiffs sent to find them. You are, of course, also expected to acquire any quintessent artifacts found during the course of your investigation to be turned into the Canticum immediately. So the three of you have just disembarked off of a barge which took you from Constantinople eastward across the Bosphorus Strait, and you have been deposited onto the docks of Scutari. It's an early autumn day. The sky gloams overhead, and it looks like it's threatening to rain. And the only thing that you can hear right now are seabirds and just the lapping of the waves of the Bosphorus and Mediterranean Sea lapping up on the shores. Before we move forward, who are you? Who are we looking at?
Newcomers first. Go on, Rich.
Okay, hello. I am Oswald Harlow. I am a merchant pilgrim. Well, I don't really know, to be honest. To say it's the first time I've done this, so it's we'll see where we go. But that is who I am. Obviously, I'm travelling with these guys, and we'll see where we go from here.
Very nice. And you were convicted of the crime of usury, if if I remember
I
correctly.
was indeed. Wrongfully, obviously, like everyone.
Obviously.
Wrongfully accused. It's they can't prove it. All right, they can't prove it. Nothing happened.
All right, who else do we have with us?
We have Ivana Dai. I am a scholar. I was accused of apostasy, though it is only the truth I speak.
Ooh, I love it. All right, Matt, who are you playing today?
My name's William Dangle.
Jesus.
I
God.
was arrested for being a vagrant. I only wanted to live in a bucket.
What?
Oh God, what are these voices you come out with?
Do I get the pleasure of knowing which of the Irish, Welsh, or Scottish accents you are attempting to
Yeah,
imitate?
you just offended everyone there. That's glorious.
That's right, if you blanket offend, no one gets offended.
Offend everyone and no one can be offended.
I'm just a
Love it.
peasant.
You know what he reminds? You know Beaker.
Yeah, that does sound like Beaker.
No one will be
My
offended.
friends call me Willie.
Sure they do.
All right, so Willie Dangle, Ivana Dai, and Oswald Harlow, the only normally named person in all of Constantinople. The three of you are standing on the docks of Scutari. You know that the barge that brought you here will be back in about 2 days' time. The implication is that if you are not back by then, you're just going to be left for quote unquote dead as demonites. But otherwise, you've got a little bit of time to kind of solve this mystery. Quickly, before we jump in, one last thing. I want everybody to make an insight roll for me. And for those listening, insight is your stat for kind of mental acuity, memory, and perception.
Oh dear, that's a 1.
That is a
Oh, no.
I was
We
thinking
got
about it.
one, we got an
Pull that
8.
stuff up.
And then how about Oswald?
Okay, sorry, let me just try and roll that up. What am I rolling, sorry?
Go ahead and make an insight roll for me, Rich. Insight.
Thinking about it. There we go, a 4. I'm not very insightful.
4.
Okay, so our peasant William and the merchant Oswald were not really paying much attention when you left Constantinople. You didn't pay attention in your briefing, anything like that. So the two of you are kind of in the dark about what you're walking into. Ivana, however, as a scholar, you've got a great memory. You may know some factoids. So here are 3 things that, Ivana, you know about this mission. The first thing is that even among some of the newest pilgrims, Elene Milicenos and Aslan Demir are famed for their years of experience, daring attitudes, and their expertise in acquiring quintessent items. Elene is best identified by the bright crimson ribbon that she uses to tie back her hair, and Aslan is best known by his emerald saruk, which is a type of turban embroidered with gold thread. These two are kind of folk heroes, really, to the peasantry and to the pilgrims of Constantinople. So they're pretty well known. The other thing that you heard, Ivana, is that from the eastern walls of Constantinople, which face out to the Bosphorus Strait, Scutari is visible on clear days. The City Watch has reported that Scutari is a center of activity for several large hordes of demoniacs. In the last 3 weeks, demoniacs seem to be amassing themselves around a basilica in the eastern portion of the city. Most pilgrims know to avoid Scutari. The city walls fell to a horde of demoniacs within a decade after the abandonment. So the city itself is pretty overrun. One thing that all of you would know just from living throughout all of this horrible shit is that demoniacs tend to be drawn towards quintessence. And nobody quite knows why. There's a lot of theories, but it's just the fact remains that wherever there are large stores of quintessence, there are hordes of demoniacs that are trying to get to it. The last thing, Ivana, that you know, and this might be a little bit of your scholarly training speaking, but the city of Scutari, which used to be known as Chrysopolis, was conquered in 1338 by the Ottoman leader Orhan Khazi, and it is rumored that during this time, many Greco-Roman aristocrats and clergy hid their wealth deep underground in vaults or cisterns in the hopes of someday retrieving what they lost. So there you go. So yeah, the three of you are standing on the docks, just looking around. You're kind of, you're on kind of like a gangway, and the streets of the docks are all flanked by large but crumbling warehouse buildings. Many of the streets have been blocked off by rubble and by broken merchant stands and things like that. But there are two roads that are available to traverse safely. One of them is heading directly east, and then one of them is heading towards the northeast. And if you look towards or down the eastern road, if you look to the east, you can see the sun is rising, and backlit by the rising sun is the telltale domes and spires of just a classic Byzantine Roman basilica.
Nice. Look at all those good domes.
Can any of you read a compass? Do we have a compass?
The sun can work as our compass
I
for
don't have a
now.
compass, I'm afraid.
Oh.
If you'd like, you can make an insight roll at any time just to see if you pick up any extra details. Just kind of as a perception kind of thing.
Okay.
That might be an idea, get some more info about which way we want to go.
Well,
That's another one.
Oh, good lord.
oh god, oh no, one, two,
I got a
three.
2 and a 3.
Wow, y'all
We
are
are
not
so
super
not
perceptive.
inside.
So I should say, both for y'all and for the listeners at home, much like Blister Critters, much like Stillfleet, our other grit system games that we at Stillfleet Studios are putting out and have put out, you can always choose before a roll to burn either 3, 6, or 9 grit in order to supplement your roll. And I'll say, first time starting out, first time playing the game, and say if you want to retroactively burn some grit, that's totally fine in this instance.
I think we just walk in blindly, to be honest.
Yes.
Why not? We don't need
It
any more
seems-
information, let's just go for it.
Yeah,
Great.
it seems simple enough. If
All
we
right,
were to-
read.
Like I said, there is a path leading to the northeast and a path heading straight east towards the basilica that the guards had mentioned earlier.
Might as well get
It
this
seems
over
like a
with.
no-brainer. Let's go to the Basilica.
Yes. I doubt anything in the city felled them yet.
Say that again?
I doubt anything in the city killed our companions.
We'll find out. All right, so you start making your way towards the east. It's kind of a winding road going up and down a little bit, but heading towards the east. And we're just going to roll real quick to see if there's any random encounters that we come across. Okay. Fortunately, the path is clear. You do not come across anything or anyone else. So you make your way eastward, and the silence of the docks is broken by the familiar yet still maddening guttural wails of Demonites. The road opens up into a large market square, dominated by a fountain in the center. Tied to the column of the fountain are the 5 Canticum bailiffs that were sent to retrieve the lost pilgrims. You can easily identify them. They all wear the same livery, and they have the crest of the Canticum Aeternum sewn onto their breasts. Each of these bailiffs is screaming and writhing against their bonds, and each one of them is like absolutely, I guess, feathered with arrows. They've got, dozens of arrows each sticking in their chest, and you can tell that they were tied up first and then shot with these arrows.
It looks like free ammunition there.
You certainly could try to pull it off. But yeah, these bailiffs seem preoccupied with trying to free themselves, and they have not noticed you as you kind of come around the bend. I'll also say this market square, it's lined by houses and more warehouses, things like that. But there is kind of a second floor balcony that you could potentially climb up on to continue moving eastward, which is where the road takes you.
Nope, just walk straight up and start pulling arrows.
That's awesome.
Nice. Nice.
So let's find out what happens. So I will say, as soon as you walk up to these 5 men who are no longer men, they're now demoniacs. They've lost their humanity, presumably from being killed over and over and over again while they're tied up. They all have multiple maleficia that is coming off of them. One of them has tentacles. One of them has the mandibles of like an ant. Another one has too many eyes to count that run up and down his face and neck. Horns, beaks, all kinds of stuff. But these are decidedly not human anymore. As you walk up to them, they notice you immediately, William, and they kind of double their efforts to break free of their bonds in order to get at you. Let me see. Oh my. Okay, so these demoniacs, one of them has maleficia, which is basically like lobster claws. They don't have hands anymore, but they have these snapping claws. You're able to kind of work their arm up and get it under their rope bindings and saw and snap away the rope. So these 5 demoniacs are now free and just mindlessly charging at you, William. So
was it? Was it rope or chain?
It was rope.
Rope. Okay.
Yeah, like hempen rope.
It's somewhat Magneto here.
Say again.
It's somewhat Magneto. I see. I said.
Yeah. I was thinking.
Can I throw down my oil lamp with it lit and then run the fuck away?
I will say you were walking up to pick arrows and quarrels out of these guys. So I'm going to say that you don't have enough time to do that right now. But we are going to roll for initiative. And just before we do that, so when dealing with demoniacs in Danse Macabre, the focus is on a mechanic that we call hordes or mobs. Hordes are multiple bodies that act as one person in combat. So, yeah, they'll try to hit you, they'll try to do all that stuff, they can dodge and everything like that. But the worst part about facing a horde is that they do deal automatic damage to each one of you per round of combat. There's kind of collateral damage that happens as they're clawing at you and scraping and all that good stuff. So, we're going to roll for initiative, and the way that we do that is everybody is going to roll a finesse check.
That's not good. 2.
I've got an 8.
Finesse.
Very nice.
3.
Save me, my lord, save me.
God, me lord.
There is no lord.
There's no lords here, all peasants together.
That's right. Peasant solidarity.
Oh. Great.
All right, so as you're coming up, these demoniacs break away from their bonds. Oswald, you have a split-second reaction as your comrade here is being borne down upon by these demoniacs. And I'll say before we get into too much combat stuff, so in combat, much like a lot of other RPGs, you can, in a turn, you can take one action and then move up to near distance, which is about 20 feet. Or you can choose to move twice or take 2 actions while standing in place. So what would you like to do as this mass of mutated bodies is coming at the 3 of you?
Well, I am a merchant, so I'm going to panic and run away.
Hell yeah.
I'm not dealing with this shit. Hell no. Getting the hell out of there.
All right. Where would you like to run to? Like I said, you can head back west along the path you took. There is a second floor balcony, and I would say even without an insight check, you can see that there's some barrels and boxes and things. So you could probably scrabble up to a second floor to reach safety, or you could just try to bust through and run eastward.
Okay. Have they seen us other 2 yet, or are they just concentrating on Matt's character?
think they're largely concentrating on William, but they're certainly aware of you.
Okay, damn. I was going to try and hide. Try to hide somewhere. But yeah, I suppose we're just trying to get the hell out of there. So wherever we can go to turn around and go back the way we came, I suppose.
Okay. All right. So I think what I'll have you do in this instance is to make another finesse check. And we're going to see if you can flee from these demoniac bailiffs.
Okay. A 2. No.
Okay, you rolled a 2. Not great.
Trip and
However, well, no. So they also rolled. I rolled a 2 for their finesse check as well. In Danse Macabre, ties always go to player characters. So you are just barely able to get away before they make it up to where William is standing. Would you like to do anything else on your turn? You can still take an action, or you could try to move another 20 feet west the way that you can.
Well, I've sort of tried to get away with not much success. Is there, anything that I can do to slow them down with my magnetokinesis at all? Is there any sort of metal things lying around that I can sort of try and trip them up with, maybe, if I move stuff with my mind?
Absolutely. So a couple of them are wearing lamellar, which is a type of armor that has overlapping plates of steel or iron. So you could certainly attempt to either push or pull one of them using your magnetokinesis maleficium. They've also got some weapons. They've got daggers, they've got swords, things like maces, things like that on them, but they're not wielding. They're just kind of like, wild style, if you will.
Can I push one of them into the others so they sort of domino effect fall over?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's give it a shot. So, for magnetokinesis, you currently have level 1, and I should say, for this Maleficia, whoever has this Maleficia, this mutation, their skin is like a dull metallic sheen to it, who dully reflects light. You are able to move and control objects made of iron and steel using only your willpower. So you can do this up to D3 times a day. We'll say 3 times a day. So what you're going to do is burn 3 grit, and then you're going to make a fervor check. And you try to match or beat a 6.
Okay, wonderful. I've only got a D6 anyway. Let's give it a go.
And remember, you can always burn grit.
Okay, I'll have 12 grit, so... What do you need me to do for that? Roll another one, or...?
No, you can just add that to the roll that you already did, that's fine.
Okay, so I'll burn 3 grit and make it up to a 6.
So, fantastic. So, yeah, you, I guess, how do you magneto this? What are you pushing with your hand? Are you holding your temples? What's your action?
I suppose I'll sort of push out with my hand and make like a swiping motion to try and sort of push one into the others.
Sweet, I love it. Okay, so you rolled a 6 on your fervor check. Since you are attempting to manipulate somebody else, push or pull them, they are going to roll vitality to attempt to resist. So if they roll higher than your check just now, then nothing happens. But otherwise, they're going to fall over like a house of cards. Very nice. They rolled a 5 for their vitality. Oh. So we'll say there's one kind of in the front using or wearing lamellar armor, and you're able to grab hold of his armor and just shove him backwards. And since he's in the very front, he kind of acts like a bowling ball, knocking the others down. So they are actually all prone at the moment. It doesn't do any damage, but it does give them disadvantage on their next rolls unless they get up.
Nice.
All right. So after they fall to the ground, they try to scrabble back up, and I'm going to see. They try to scrabble back up unsuccessfully. They're too tangled. Maybe some of the rope is like still, tangled up with them, so they're not able to make themselves unprone. But they are going to attempt to attack William. So they're attacking from a prone position. They're going to have this with disadvantage. Much like in a lot of games, advantage means you roll twice, take the higher. Disadvantage, roll twice, take the lower. So they're going to roll 2d6. And they got a 2 for that. William, I will have you roll finesse to see if you can dodge this attack.
They have rolled a 2, yeah?
They rolled a 2.
2?
Okay, well, you, like I said, Pilgrims always win on ties. Yeah, it's been really bad today. But yeah, you still win on ties. So you're able to, these claws and tentacles are reaching out towards you, but you're able to kind of like skip back just in time before they grab you. Next up, we have Ivana. What would you like to do? You're standing between Oswald and William and these demonites.
Ivana will sigh, tilt her head, and then draw her. I think I have a short crossbow.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Light crossbow, my bad. No, it's not a sawn-off crossbow. And fire 2 arrows into the one closest.
Love it. Okay, so I'm going to have you make 2 insight rolls for each one of your shots if you're going to stay in place.
So 2 for each, or...?
No, one for each. So if you're going to fire twice, make 2 different insight rolls for each shot.
Oh, 6 and a 1. God
okay,
damn.
So your first shot strikes true. You hit one of the demonites just straight in the head, and the second shot unfortunately goes wide and clinks off of the fountain behind them. Would you roll damage for me? So that is going to be, I think D4 for the crossbow plus your insight score. So you roll 2 dice.
Hold on, just check. Yeah, light crossbow is D6 plus instinct.
Even better.
Nice. So that's a D12 plus a D6. Mm-hmm. That is 14 damage.
Ooh, good lord. Very nice. You absolutely destroyed him with that first crossbow shot. I'll say maybe the one in the very front wearing the laminar who was knocked down by Oswald. We'll say that he has the maleficium, which is called gelatinous skin, which essentially turns you into a walking humanoid amoeba. So it does give you some resistance to like axes and blade weapons, but not to pole arms and ranged attacks that are more piercing. So we'll say that this quarrel goes right through the air, like just completely cuts through the first demonite's head. It explodes in like a massive tube, coating William a little bit, as well as the other demonites. And then it ends up, because of the tangled pile that they're all in, burying itself right into the heart of a demonite. So you've knocked these guys down quite a bit. You just killed 2 with 1 shot. So there are 3 of these left.
A brief taste of death.
Yeah,
On
they
to
will.
The next.
They will be back. You do know this. Okay, so then finally, William, it is your turn to act. What would you like to do?
I only wanted arrows. Can I run a decent length away? And I'm gonna go ahead and guess. Would vomiting caustic acid over them do much damage to them? The 3 that are remaining.
Yeah, that'll definitely do some damage. It also your maleficium caustic vomit also can cause burn 2. And the way that works is that I'll basically roll a d6 for them. If they score 2 or lower, then they are burned, and over 2 rounds of combat will take increasing damage from that condition. So yeah, if you'd like to bomb on these guys, go for it.
A d4 plus 2. Oh, 6.
Very nice. Alright, so let's see. So that does 6 damage.
Fuck you for not sharing.
And then let me see. Oh yeah, they get burned. That's great. So yeah, this caustic vomit sprays out from your mouth, maybe turning into kind of like a fine mist by the time that it hits them, and just kind of raining down on them. And you can see as it hits their exposed skin or like the leather in their armor, it starts to kind of sizzle and pop and smoke a little bit as it eats away at flesh and leather and all that good stuff. So yeah, they start wailing even further. I think that is probably going to do in one more of them. So there are only 2 left, and they're looking pretty worse for wear after that vomit rain that just fell on them.
I mean, you probably would, right?
All right, so that's the end of our initiative. Yeah, probably would. That's the end of our initiative. I'm going to say, William, you ran back a bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So nobody's really within like reach of these suckers. So we're not going to do the automatic damage because you're not like in the midst of battle with them. But it is going to go back to Oswald. You're about 20 feet away from the action. What would you like to do?
Okay, and as you said, there's 2 of them left.
Yeah, there's 2 of them left.
Okay, can I use my hunting bow to shoot one of them?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so D6.
Yeah, you'll make an insight check to hit.
Which is a D6. Oh, that's a 2.
All right, let's see what they roll for dodge. Okay, unfortunately, you're standing a bit away. There's a lot happening, and maybe William kind of jukes in front of your aim, and you kind of pull your arm away a bit, so the arrow goes wide and thunks into a rotting wooden market stand that's off to the side. So unfortunately, that is not a hit.
Damn.
You haven't moved, so you could shoot again if you would like to.
Yes, I would like to shoot again.
Go for it.
That is a 3 this time.
Well, luckily for you, they rolled a 1 to dodge. Yeah, go ahead and roll damage. Let's see what happens.
Okay, so this is what is this? Hunting bow is D6 plus insight. That's another D6. So that was a 6 plus plus D6 and the insight. So that's 12.
Fantastic. Yeah, that definitely does it. So we'll say that as one of the 2 remaining demoniacs is getting back to his feet, you plant an arrow right in his chest, and he falls over onto the other one who's trying to get up and knocks him into the fountain. And as he falls, he hits his head on the side of the fountain and just cracks his skull wide open, and they both drop right
Dear
there.
Lord. I kind of feel bad for these guys now. Oh, God.
They'll be alive again in a few hours, don't worry.
Oh, okay. We wait here and do it all again and just keep firing arrows at them when they come back? Just keep wailing on them?
You absolutely,
We collect the arrows.
You absolutely could if you wanted to.
We kill them. We collect the arrows. We shoot the arrows. We kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
The
It's just
arrows.
infinite.
It's a cyclical play loop.
It's an XP farm.
It is.
Okay, I'd just like to do that for the entire recording, please.
Unfortunately, you do not get XP in this game.
Oh, there's no point. Nobody told me that.
No, you. Every time you finish a quest, you get to level up your character. So every time you successfully return to Constantinople, you gain a level, gain new powers, all that good stuff.
Nice.
But yeah, no XP for killing or looting or anything like that, because personal preference. But yeah, so these 5 demoniacs, these 5 men, former men rather, are now laying just broken on the ground by the fountain here. If you'd like, you can try to collect some arrows. I'd probably have you just roll maybe like 2d6 each to see how many you can successfully pull out without breaking.
2d6. 6.
Nice.
I've got a 10.
Jesus, 10 there.
Oh, 6 as well.
Already had 20.
Pretty good. It's pretty
Like
good. So yeah, I mean, just add those to your totals in your inventory. That's how many arrows you're each able to retrieve. Or we'll say, Jay, for Ivana, we'll say that those are specifically crossbow orals.
Aye. Nice.
How long do we have before they rise again?
So typically it's D4 hours, and your characters wouldn't know this, but just for fun table transparency, I rolled a 2, so they're going to be revived in 2 hours.
What was the reaction of the, I assume there was people in the square, or was it? Or were we alone?
It was just these demoniacs.
Oh, that's not good.
As you found them tied up.
You there, Oswald? You got any chain?
Any chain? No chain on me, mate. Sorry.
You chain him back to the pole.
You'd think, being someone that uses
Sure.
uses magnokinetas, I'd have some, but no, sorry.
No. Well,
Is there any around?
Roll an insight check.
Insight's a D12. That's
God
Hey,
damn
you
that.
Trash, man. Jesus.
I just hand him a bit of the hemp rope. Here you go.
Yeah, yeah. You dig around in some of the crates and barrels and the remaining market stands in the area, but you are unable to procure any chain.
Oh.
Can I roll an insight check to see if Ivana knows a little bit more about the process of how they're going to come back to life? Are their wounds going to get healed, or do they just kind of zoop up as they are?
Yeah, so I think you would just kind of know this from having experienced false death yourself and maybe seeing other people go through it. But typically the way that it works is that if there is any bit of a body left over, so even if you were to burn them and there's a little bit of bone, the person will regrow around the largest piece of body that remains. So for the guy who had his head split open, his wounds will kind of mystically heal themselves and reform. And typically through that process of reforming is where the maleficia show up. Something gets reformed incorrectly or comes back wrong. If you
Just the killing wound, and would a non-lethal wound on a corpse be also healed?
The non-lethal wounds are also healed.
Fuck. Okay, I was going to suggest we chop their arms off over here, but
Just chop them to bits, lovely. Put them in the barrel.
yeah, just tie
What
their
if
bodies
we-
up and make it so they don't have arms to get themselves out.
What if we chop their arms and legs off and stick a pole right up through them and watch them writhe around?
God, no. Unfortunately, their arms and legs will regrow, it seems.
You just
How
chop them off at the
miserable.
beginning of every day.
Yeah. You're a little strange, man. You know
I mean,
that.
I don't
You're a little
intend
bit
to sit
fucking
over them. If we split one of them perfectly down the middle, do we get 2?
So canonically, you might actually.
Oh,
This isn't something that I've written mechanically yet. It's something I'm working on at the moment. But the idea is that yes, if you are able to split someone in 2, there's a possibility that they essentially are cloned, or it's kind of like a mitosis thing.
Okay.
And a lot of people speculate. Ivana, I think you would probably know this as a scholar, but a lot of scholars speculate that this is the reason that there are so many demoniacs that came about so quickly, particularly off of battlefields early in the abandonment. You had a lot of soldiers that would come back, but there was this kind of overwhelming number of hordes that appeared seemingly within a few years.
Can you sew them together and only get one?
Yeah, can you Frankenstein them? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's something a friend of mine who's writing a module for this has kicked around, is the idea of a kind of amalgam demoniac, where it's if you put enough people, enough people who have died into a tight enough space, maybe they grow together and fuse. Things
Sounds
like
hot.
that. But yeah.
Human centipede, human centipede.
This is what this is turning into now, isn't it? Wonderful.
Oh yeah, I love it.
50-foot of rope. We can try.
Thread it for each of their mouths, so they're on a essentially stringed like sausages.
Oh my god.
Or you can just feed the rope through and just tie a knot on one end and then on the other end.
How long would it take us to do this? Well, the meat guy we can't, because he kind of splished.
Yeah,
But the others we can do it too.
Yeah, the others are definitely fair game for human sympathy if you want. I'd say it probably takes you like maybe 20 minutes or so to set up a chain.
That's not that long. Okay, sure.
Not too bad, not too bad.
Can we tie like the ends of the rope together so it's a circle?
You can do whatever you want. I will say, as you take time to do this, I'm going to see if we have another little encounter.
Somebody crops up and turns up at this. I'm seeing what's happening.
Truly an Ouroboros of
Turns
death.
out we're the bad
What
guys.
the fuck?
He turns around like, nope.
Oh, must become
okay,
one
so
with
yeah,
the
as you take your time making your chain of corpses, it stays quiet. Nobody is coming by. You don't hear any more demoniacs or anything.
Probably
like
for the best.
I know we're creating like a final boss for ourselves later, but I'm having fun.
We'll see what happens. I will say where you are standing, so you can head back west towards the docks, the way that you came. There's a road that leads to the northwest, and there is the road that you were originally following, which leads east to the Basilica.
We should probably carry on going there now that we've taken care of these guys.
I think we may benefit from walking on hallowed ground after this.
Ain't nothing holy about this, except for where the rope goes.
Fuck. That's disgusting. Thank you. I like it. As a fan of body horror, I mean that's one of the main reasons that I started writing this game. It's just like, yeah, this needs to be as
there we go.
So thanks for engaging in the grossness of it.
You are welcome.
You're so welcome. All right, so go ahead.
This seems like it must have been an organized execution for them to be tied up and killed. Two things then for us. We could inquire about it at the courts, but I think it might benefit us if we are to keep hidden the fact that we were to aid these people. And that we search for our friends on good terms.
Have you seen what we've just done here? There's nothing good terms about that. Christ.
It's just a regular Friday morning.
Maybe for you.
What, is this your first time creating an abomination?
Yes.
Why
isn't it yours?
Don't tell me you've never been curious about the horrors of man.
She's a woman of science.
Yes, of science.
And I'm a vagrant.
Yeah. Like, I just like to watch the world burn.
I feel like I've
just
joined
like to
the wrong
watch.
group here, I'll be honest. I'm a simple merchant. I was just coming to buy and sell goods. Now I've done horrific things.
Unfortunately, you were not given a choice by the Masters of Pilgrims at the Canticum. This is just your lot in life, as it turns out. So let's see. So the three of you, you're going to continue heading eastward towards the Basilica.
Yes.
Sweet. All right. So you make your way down the road. Y'all have been rolling really poorly, but you've been having good luck with these random encounter rolls. So
You have also been rolling very well.
Yeah. I'm trying to roll low for these, but it's not happening. So yeah, you make your way eastward, and all is quiet as you're weaving through the streets. But the road eventually opens up into a large square that's surrounding a pretty huge domed Byzantine basilica, which is covered in rotting wood scaffolding, which is telling of construction that was abandoned in the midst of a conversion to what appears to be a mosque. There's some Arabic banners and figures that are hanging up, kind of half installed. A mass just a huge mass of demoniacs, more than you can even count, surround the structure, filling the square. Most simply shuffle around the basilica in a hypnotic circle, wailing and screaming, while others feebly scratch at the front doors of the narthex of the basilica. It's the entryway, attempting to enter. The area, like you can kind of like hide away behind a corner, so you haven't been noticed, but you notice immediately that the area smells pretty heavily of sewage, though you cannot identify the source of the smell. So yeah, the three of you are standing kind of at the corner, right where the square opens up, surrounding the basilica. All around you are houses and shop fronts and things like that. Most of them have second stories and kind of balconies that come out over the square. But yeah, circling around, kind of the way that ants circle when they get hypnotized by their own pheromone trails. Just in a vortex around the basilica is hundreds and hundreds of demoniacs who are moving kind of as one line.
Need more rope.
Yeah, what would you like to do?
We're going to need more rope for all this lot.
An even bigger creation.
Yeah, that's definitely not enough for all these.
Yep.
I found it. Do you reckon we can make them if we did what we did back there? Could we circle the entire building?
More than
Would that be
potentially the
possible?
entire city.
Mass centipede.
Yes. Yes.
But at that
it
point,
is.
would it be a human millipede?
That is an interesting question. I think it depends how many legs are on each segment. We can always move them to redistribute the limbs. It's
I
fascinating.
I was only
idea.
joking. We're not taking this seriously, right? We do not want to go down there. That's a lot of things.
Well, no. We need to find a way to slaughter them first. Their deaths will be glorious, but their bodies are not sacred.
God damn.
Kill first, claim later.
I would like to not get involved in this. I think we should sneak round.
That might be a good idea.
Okay. Do y'all want to try to sneak around, try to maybe make your way to the basilica and hide away, or? I will say you notice. So the basilica is 3 stories tall. The third story of which is just the main dome of the basilica. But you can see from the second story, a balcony kind of opens up. These arched arched windows open up onto a second floor balcony. So it is conceivable that you could try to climb up on one of the second stories of one of the houses around and to make a jump onto that balcony. It's about 10 feet or so of a jump.
I'm happy to climb up on top of the building. Can I look around? Is this city on the water, by the way? My geography's
The
not good.
part of the city that you are currently in is away from the water, but yes, otherwise.
If
You're,
we
Okay.
you're kind of inland right now.
let's see, if we got up to the top of the building, could I shoot an arrow across with the rope on it?
Yeah, you could certainly try.
I'd suggest that to the group.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Can I see if Ivana can see, like, a building, like, on the coast or on the water at all that looks like it got ships around it or anything?
Well, you would know that from disembarking on the docks that there's no usable ships around.
I'm looking for more of, like, a shipyard, dock, military area.
I mean, that's the area that you were dropped off in, and all of the ships that were there are like half sunken or rotting, things like that.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna level with you.
Yeah, if you'd like,
Ivana
you can
looked
go
down
back
there. Ivana looked down there, and her first thought was Greek fire. Can I get it? I must use it. So I'm looking for like a potential old, like not a ship to sail away on. I'm looking for like a storage area where naval military stuff might have been held.
Yeah. Let's okay, let's say this. the shipyard is pretty much useless to you, but you do notice, Ivana, that one of the warehouses that flanks this area, it looks like it was a what do you call it? Like a barracks, like a military barracks.
Okay.
You could tell just by the insignia of the Paleologian dynasty on the wall that it was an official building. So I'd say if you want, you can try to sneak over there and enter, and then we can search around to see if we find any Greek fire.
With those numbers, we may need help destroying them. I have an idea, if you don't mind a quick detour.
That's actually a point. Would fire genuinely kill them permanently if they're reduced to ash?
It would if there is, like, not even bone left. But the idea is that, even, like a funeral pyre still leaves behind some remains. So even if there's, like, a bit of skull or a femur or something that remains, it is possible for a demoniac to regrow from that body part.
We do not need them dead forever. When we make them into something new, they can't writhe and scream if they are always dead.
Jesus.
We just need them dead for now.
Jesus.
What if we swept up the remains and put it into a very tight container?
I'd love to see what that would do. We can do it with some of them. But first, we must kill
You've
them.
seen how many are down there. There's more than we've ever seen before in one place.
That's
I
why
don't think that's going to work.
As I said, I have an idea. We cannot fight them plainly, but, surely you've heard old rumors. The naval battles were not always fought with men and swords. Boats spewing fire sounds interesting.
I'd agree it sounds interesting, but
Nothing.
do we really want to attract the attention of all these things? Why don't we just...
They are gathered round the basilica. We need to get in. I would rather have insurance if we are to risk being found.
Sure, okay. Well, if we get ripped limb from limb, that's on you.
It
I need
could
to
be
do
fun.
Fine, let's go.
Let's see, I have to look up how Greek fire actually worked. Like, is it a...
We don't know. We don't know.
No
That's
one
the
actually...
problem.
Like, is it
We don't
like,
know. There's a theory that it's resin and petroleum, but we don't actually have any idea what they did.
Right,
to this
but
day.
it's not something that like ignites when it hits the air, right? It's not like it's not a pyrophoric is the word I'm looking for.
The theory is that it was a chemical that was lit. We know that it burned on top of water.
Mm-hmm.
We know that it was incredibly difficult to put out, if that was at all possible. Basically ancient napalm.
Right.
We don't know what it was made of exactly, or exactly how it was ignited or used.
Mm-hmm.
We have depictions showing that it's basically a fucking flamethrower, but nothing clear on what it really was.
Gotcha. All right, so for the sake of this, we will say it is not pyrophoric. It does not ignite when it hits the air, but does need to be lit by something. If you indeed find some.
I have a flint and steel, buddy. I'm
Planned
ready
it
for
all out
that.
from the beginning.
Let's go.
I mean, yeah, you should all have torches and flint and steel. So there's plenty of ways to start a fire. I believe.
I do have an oil lamp.
I was going to say I believe William also has
Yeah,
an
I've
oil
got an oil.
in his inventory. So yeah, plenty of ways to start a fire. But before we get to that, I will have each one of you make a finesse check to see if you can sneak over to this this barracks, this military warehouse, and get in without being noticed by the demoniac horde.
I got a 9.
4.
You can always burn grit.
I suppose I'm going to have to burn 3.
Would this count as movement?
Yeah. So finesse is used for your
That's
sneaky
a 9.
sneaks. Beautiful.
That would be a 7 with the 3 grit.
Beautiful. Okay, so all of you absolutely are able to kind of stick to the shadows, maybe hiding behind some barrels and different rubble that's in the area. Yeah, exactly. Cue spy versus spy music. And you make it up to one of the these this building, the front of it has some windows that are boarded up by wooden shutters, but one of them is hanging open, so you're able to successfully kind of slink your way inside without being noticed by the horde. And yeah, you're inside of this kind of barracks area. It seems like there's a lot of tables that have been turned over. There's kind of like a little mess hall situation that's been upset. But then you pretty quickly are able to identify a back storeroom where they might keep weapons or other sundry killing items. So if you want to search around for some Greek fire, I'll have anyone that wants to take a look make an insight check.
All right. Real quick, I don't actually know what liturgy is.
Liturgy, the scholar power.
The word.
Oh.
I'm not literate enough for that one.
I got a 5.
Something to do with writing.
No, so liturgy is basically like religious history and religious law. So like liturgical law is an example of that. So it would be like knowledge of things that are religious, because as a scholar, most, if not all, scholarly institutions at the time were tied to religious institutions.
All right.
I don't think that's going to help in this situation.
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Well, no, you've studied religion, so you know what you're doing is incredibly batshit insane.
You know that what you're doing is deeply immoral.
Only by a certain point of view. Yep. God will forgive me for all my sins, and it's a long list.
Really, I mean, I think it's an interesting question. Is it immoral to temporarily
desecrate
kill
corpses?
Demonites? Who knows? All right, so Jay, Ivana rolled a 7 for their search check.
I'm willing to burn grit if that does not do. I have plenty to burn.
I would say, so this, I wouldn't make this, in the grit system, there are various levels of checks that you can make. So easy is a 5+, standard, most of the checks you're going to make are 6+, difficult is 7, and then very difficult is 9, and nearly impossible is 12+. So I'll say this would be a difficult roll, not very difficult, because you're in the right spot for it. So yeah, let's say, rummaging through the stores in this place, you are able to identify a barrel full of Greek fire, of this pyroclastic substance. We'll say there's a medieval hazard symbol on it. It's like a skull on fire or something like that, but some way of like recognizing that this is what you were looking for. I'll also say that this building has a second story. You can climb up the stairs, and it does look out on a balcony overlooking the square that holds the basilica.
Right. Now we have this. We just need to utilize it well. I'll leave that to the two of you, though. I cannot so long as it all burns, but would this be better as something to cover our escape, or something to lessen our enemies in the moment? So do you guys think it would be a good idea to keep this here, and essentially if we need to run from them, we run through here, then set it off? Or do you want to try and burn some of the creatures before you try and get in?
The problem is there's a hell of a lot of them. And I don't think it'll be enough. Maybe something to, if we do get their attention on our way out.
Right.
Might be.
So we need to get into the building they're surrounding, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We can just jump from the rooftops.
What if we dangle someone from the rooftop to attract them over, and then light it on fire?
Well done for volunteering.
So almost. Hey, if I die, I get a cool power again, so I'm up for it.
Yeah, no, tell you what, let's all jump in there. Let's all just get ripped to bits.
No, you hang them from a distance,
I think there is one complication with this. Some Daemonera can have quite range on their abilities.
This is true. It is also possible for some of them to fly. Wings, either like leathery, kind of bat-like wings or feathered wings, are pretty common amongst demonites.
Perhaps we should leave this then for an escape route.
Could we use it as a distraction to do it elsewhere and lure them away?
Yeah, I think that that's absolutely a possibility. Like, without pouring it out, I think, if you were to light this barrel on fire, it would essentially act like a bomb.
Light the barrel on fire, drop it off the balcony at them?
So you'd want to have the barrel in place. Right. Why don't you go and put the barrel up there and someone stick their arse out the window and throw them over?
I think we shouldn't aggro them just yet. I think...
You want them as many around the bomb as possible, right?
I think what I'm saying is, if we try and fuck around with them right at this moment, even with the bomb, they're going to get our ass. Particularly because some of them can fly. And avoid the bomb
do it on the
entirely.
second story window. You just close the window and go away.
Yeah. I think potentially what this might be better for is if we do the rooftop thing, jump over there, and we get caught and we run like past this, light it, and keep going, and leave it to fuck them up if they chase us.
Chris, in this place we're at, is there armour?
Make an insight check. We'll see if you can find anything salvageable.
Not so much to wear,
but
enough to make a puppet. That's an 8.
Yeah,
They went wildly off the reins.
Yeah, you're able to find some pretty old, pretty rusted armor, but there's also some bedding here. I think you could pretty easily, using some rope and some bedding with some rotting straw in it, you could probably fashion a puppet and
They're like a pre-made training dummy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, that's even. That's way better. You find a training dummy in the storehouse, and there's some like rusted old chainmail that's laying around. So if you want, you could dress it up and use it as a decoy.
Better. Mm-hmm. So if it's got enough metal on it, then Richard, your character could use your metal, whatever it is, to make it dance in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I could make it move.
That's true.
I don't know if it's got a range on it, my ability, but
there's not too much range. It's more like the amount of time that it travels. So you can usually control iron and steel objects for about 6 seconds.
Okay, it's not very long.
That's enough. You can travel a good distance in 6 seconds. If we could put the barrel in the middle of this thing, and then shoot it off into the other direction, then blow it up whilst they're all chasing after it.
Sure.
Put the barrel out in the street next to the warehouse, like not in the square, but the street next to it. We go to the building over, zoom the dummy past, blow it up, and like make a jump from the balcony to the thingy room.
You can always get it inside of a building. That way, if they're all crowding inside the building, and then you can blow it up, and then voila, the building collapses. We have more time.
Fair enough.
Sounds perfect. I'm in.